anyone doing at least anyone that has seven figures stores definitely do have their own fulfillment setup in China because like the cost savings, the processing speed, the ability to scale. I mean, not all suppliers can scale like 5 or 6 thousand like orders per day, given like, and not necessarily like you're gonna get all the suppliers to be able to have stock. So usually there's a point of time whereby we buy out the entire China market's supply. So it's like we're scaling so aggressively that like, everyone's out of stock and like we have an agreement that only they can sell it to us. So like any copycats who try to like, get into the game and try to sell the same product, they don't even have inventory. So eventually they're just gonna like refund all the customers and pay for all like, take the loss for all the ad spend. So like that's a unique advantage that we do have sometimes, depending on how hard we scale and how new the product is. If the product is really mature, super a lot of like sellers and manufacturers, then it's probably harder. But if it's a new product, probably only like 5 or 6 big manufacturers we can easily usually buy out the entire market.
Hello and welcome to iStack Training's podcast, The Robust Marketer. I am super lucky to be here today with Steve Tan. Now, many of you will be familiar with Steve Tan and his brother Evan Tan and some of their amazing exploits that they have been putting together in the e-commerce space. My first exposure to Steve was a post that he made on Tim Bird's Facebook buyers group where he showed screenshots of his first $400,000 day. That's a big day by anyone's standards. And I was just absolutely blown away. I instantly started digging in and researching about who these guys were and what kind of numbers they're doing. So I'm very glad to finally get him on the show. I'm sure, as he's told me, that's just one of his stores. He's got several other ones going on. And he's here to talk a little bit with our audience about his e-commerce success. Welcome to the Robust Marketer. How you doing, Steve?
Hi Eric, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on like your podcast today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Excellent. So the first thing that I like to do on my podcast is the guest tells a little bit about their marketer's hero's journey. So what brought you from starting out? How long have you been doing this? And sort of what are some of the key steps along the way that brought you to where you are today?
I think I mean mindset is very critical for me. Like, but I've started back in 2006, selling physical products, not on e-commerce stores, but on eBay. So probably that's my first step, like in how I got started with selling physical products. And like, it's scaled to a point whereby I'm doing probably 40, 50K per month. And I felt that it's really hard to scale furthermore. So I kind of like started to look for solutions whereby I could, have everything on my own store rather like on a platform whereby I can control like my sales funnels. I can get my email address from all the customers. I can do follow up everything, right? So eventually we ventured into doing our own e-commerce stores. So started with a blog, kind of like like the old before WordPress, right? So we dabbled with like HTML pages. Then luckily, eventually Magento came out, but it's like a really really heavy solution. Probably back in '07, we started exploring Magento, '07, '08, but things really picked up for us around mid of '08 to '09, whereby we started scaling probably around 3 to 400K per month. At peak was about the peak was 500K. We can't like go through 500K. Anything more than that, it's like unachievable for us. But it's pretty consistent. The ROI is just crazy back then because like there's literally not much people using Facebook. If we're spending about 1 to 200K per month with Facebook back then. So like you're super big baller when you're spending 100K back then. They'll treat you like king. They'll give you all the API access. They'll give you a lot. But it's so much easier right now because there's pixels. Facebook has evolved so much, like made it so easy for all these advertisers, which is why I'm like sharing a lot with all my friends and people who's getting interested in e-commerce because there's no better time to get started because like you guys have Shopify right now. You can get set up like a store in just literally a few minutes. or even for a newbie is like 10, 20 minutes or just like a few hours, right? Facebook ads, probably just takes you like, a few weeks just to really get good at it, familiarize yourself, and it's all about testing. Back in the days, we don't even have pixels. You have to use like custom codes, custom third-party trackings. There's no like all this convenient stuff ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it is. You've obviously come a long way. So you first started hitting your big success in 2007, 2008. You were saying,
Yeah,
and
2008, 2009. Yeah.
2008, 2009, and then since then, what's it been like? Like what allowed you to get over? Did it peak then, or has it continued to go up? And then what do you attribute like being able to get over that next hump?
So it kind of like peaked during then. Then we did some different startups. We did some crowdfunding. We did some startups, tech startups, consumer electronics. It did pretty well. We did a few million in some of the top startups that we did. Things go up and down. Met some bad partners. Got cheated in a lot of business. So at a point of time, it's like we're still pretty young. Young and naive probably. So you're gonna meet a lot of people that's gonna like pitch you because you're successful in a way that they want you to invest your time and money, right? So like it kind of brought us down to a point whereby we lost a lot of all the money that we, kind of earned during our young days. So it's pretty much up and down till all the way that I'm kind of like so sick of it. So, just like I even got into Forex just for like, a few months just to see because the mind during at the point of time where everything crashes, right? You kind of get into a really bad mindset whereby you want to try to salvage whatever you can, like just to get reach again quickly, right? But chances that that when you get into such a bad mindset and you want to get rich quick, you'll just try something that's not like stable, that's really high risk. So I got into Forex for a few months, borrowed 20K, blew it in just a few weeks, and like I figured out, it's not something I really want. So one of my really good friends just said, why not just go back into e-commerce since you guys are just like good at it, right? So kind of gave me a wake up call, like after we had like a 24-hour chat. This guy is really my good friend. He gave me a wake up call. So I went crazy and like I just thought like I really need to get up to speed with what's changed and everything. And like for us to just go back and do drop shipping, it's so easy compared to all the startups that I've been doing. It's like a no-brainer. Like the amount of effort and energy required to do a startup and compared to a drop shipping or a Shopify store is like probably just 1 or 2% of what's like doing a startup. So yeah, I mean we scaled really, really aggressively, really quickly. Even in the first month we did like high six figures and we continue to do like seven figures the next month and we scaled more. So since then we did multiple eight figures already since then.
Unbelievable, and you're gearing up for your biggest Christmas ever, I would imagine.
Yeah, so this year we're gonna make sure we crush hard on Christmas and like we're so at this point of time our Philippines team is 100% virtual. But I have a lot of offices in Philippines before, but obviously because of like the startups close and open, right? You have to open your startup, close your startup. I've been through like I'm kind of like jaded in a way that I don't really want to have like physical office. And I've spoken to a lot of good friends, like gurus that told me, just keep it virtual. But I think I came to a point of time that I really want to start a new office again in Philippines. Like, I like the vibe, the startup vibe, the kind of like Facebook style, Google style kind of office. So we're gonna probably buy a big office next year in Philippines and have everyone just like work from the office. Then kind of like a hybrid, physical and virtual kind of like setup.
Cool. We have a team in Manila, and they're just amazing. And I haven't visited them there yet, but I think that I just saw today there's a team of 30 that iStack has in Manila, and there's apparently the sense of camaraderie in the Philippines in this office is just unbelievable. And people like they've made it a great place to hang out, so people are sleeping there, and they play a weekly poker game, like they have this big poker tournament all the time, and like just the way that things have kind of come together there. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think you might see some benefits from having that. That being said, the remote office thing is absolutely wonderful. I split my time about 2 days a week at home and maybe 3 days in the office. And I really enjoy having that balance. For me personally, it helps a lot.
Yeah, sounds good, man. So like we used to have like a team of 50 people in Philippines, like in also in Manila. So we're in the Ortigas area. So it's really nice that like they are such like they work really closely with their coworkers. It's like in Asia, like especially probably in China or in like Singapore, people don't hang out with colleagues on the weekends. Like, but in Philippines, they kind of like they'll go out for movies, they go out for like bowling. I mean, like the vibe is just like really strong. Like they do like become really good friends. They do
Hmm.
hang out during the weekends with their family, so on and so forth. So the culture is like it's also depending on the company culture, obviously. But I think these are people that if you treat them really nice, you know, you get rewarded like 10x your investments.
Yeah, in my experience, I'm a pretty nice guy anyway, but their work, the quality of their work is just astounding. The design, the development. So you're using design development. Do you also have a lot of like customer service reps in the Philippines as well?
Yeah, mainly everyone, all the customer support are from Philippines. Yeah, because they speak really good English, the rates are reasonable. So I've been telling a lot of my friends, please don't spoil the market rates because like, it used to be like 300 US, but right now probably of the surge of demand for customer support reps, these guys are like just going crazy. Like on Upwork, they're charging like crazy rates, like five, 600, 700 to 800. So it might seem cheap in the US or in like Europe, right? But like literally everyone is spoiling the market rate because they think it's still cheap, whereby it can be cheaper. But I'm not saying that we should underpay all these people, but you should only reward those that are really exceptional and good and up to par, and not like just across the board everyone gets the good rate. Everyone gets like super high pay. It just spoils the market for a lot of people
Yeah,
sometimes. Yeah.
I can imagine. So, so you're now operating at this super high scale. What are some of the tools? Have you had to build out at the scale that you're at when it comes to fulfillment and customer service? Have you had to build out like your own software tools at all, or have you been relying on external tools? And if so, what are some of the tools that have really made a big difference for you guys that have allowed you to scale to the heights you have?
I think we do use some tools. It's like local, custom made. It's for more for logistics because like you have to integrate with your warehouse WMS tools, whereby it takes care of all your logistics, your warehouse management. We do have like an experienced manager in place for that, so he takes care of all the setting up, the integration and everything for that. So other than that, we don't use a lot of Shopify apps, mainly because of like if sometimes you use too much, it's gonna slow down your store. There's some apps that's not really ethical that steals your data, but overall we just use minimal apps on our stores. A lot of things that we do are actually integrated directly into the store. So in a way that we do some custom built apps, mainly for our logistics. But the rest would be just I think most of the people are using like custom, probably like currency conversion,
Hmm.
Wheelio. We do some of the we used to, but we stopped using urgency apps like those countdown timers. We stopped using that. So yeah, we really don't use much of the apps right now. So the scaling would majority come from like Facebook ads. We diversify a lot of our traffics. We do a lot of SEO. So SEO accounts to like probably 10-20%
It's
of
incredible.
our, yeah, 10 to 20%. Given our volume, it's still good money. We don't do native ads for now, but after talking with James, probably like we would be interested to test it out too. But Google AdWords, GDN, Google search, SEO, Facebook. Facebook is still the majority because like it's so much easier to scale with Facebook compared to any other traffic source.
Yeah, I think it's when they like what you're doing, you can really put the pedal to the floor. And
Yeah.
now when you know you're scaling to these incredible heights here, are you running in like are you running into policy often? Do you have like a strong relationship with the policy team there? You obviously have a rep. You're obviously treated they were
Hmm.
treating you like a king early on. Um,
No, not now.
no, it's now it's a struggle.
I mean, like we do have good relationships with Facebook, obviously, given the span we're doing. So, like, they do advise us on like what kind of creatives we should avoid. They obviously can't like tell you off the bat for every single creative you upload, but if there's problems, they'll work with us to get it resolved instead of like just shutting you down for no reason. If your ad got removed, there's usually a good reason why, like what happened, so you know what exactly happened instead of being in the dark.
Interesting. So let's just talk logistics a little bit about the kind of scale you're working with. So we talk to people that want to get into drop shipping. Most often, the easiest thing for them is to go and get Oberlo and get Shopify and just flip things from China. That how you started?
Yes, when we just got started, we don't. I mean, when we got started, the unique advantage is being like we have been in China for like more than 10 years, right? So we have like we're so familiar of where to do all the procurement, all the purchasing. So off the bat, we didn't even use AliExpress because like it's kind of like for beginners because it's more expensive. So we usually just source from local websites like Taobao or 1688. There's a lot of different sources that we go to, but being able to speak the local language and having a team there in China does help a lot. That sorts out all this. So basically, we can't consider ourselves as drop shipping because like we do hold a lot of inventory, multiple six figures of inventory in our warehouse. Like I'm not sure if you have seen the video. Like we have like a big warehouse in China that does all our logistics. So yeah, you could check it out. I shot a quick video on
Yeah,
it.
well,
So it's like I showed everyone like, in the group like a tour of my warehouse in China. So basically, it takes care of all our fulfillment and logistics, pick, pack, ship, everything's done there. So once our procurement team does the purchase, everything gets shipped to the warehouse. So when everything is like labeled properly, so every time when they pick, pack, ship, everything's scanned, everything goes through the system, so it's very systematic. I don't exactly know like the super nitty gritties of every single step because like you have to hire professionals to do that for you. I mean,
yeah.
it's not like the CEO's job to know every single shit that happens in the company. But definitely do only consider like having your own warehouse, logistics, everything when probably doing like at least high, 5 to 600K per month, then probably consider because anything below that, I don't think it's really necessary at this point of time. So, I mean, you can easily get sourcing agents or like, people or even your sellers could do that for you, like, AliExpress sellers. If once you have a good relationship with them, they're usually more than happy to source other single products for you because like they get to earn money from that. So I have a few good friends doing like, high six figures and they only rely on like their AliExpress sellers, which they came to develop a relationship in a way that they could help them become their sourcing agent.
They could cut out AliExpress essentially, but the relationship was forged through Ali.
Yeah, they are forged through Ali, like kind of like they established the kind of like the trust and everything in there. Then they'll say, okay, I could help you source this product. So in a way, like, when you started selling more, you approach him, hey, do you have this product? They will just tell you, okay, I could source this for you because it's so easy for locals just to like, just type it in, get some samples. It's just so easy for locals to do it because they speak the native language there.
So step one, speak Mandarin, or have a partner that speaks
I
it.
think I think just getting started, don't worry too much about it.
Yeah,
Just start off with AliExpress, get everything set up properly, get to know your suppliers, get to like forge a relationship out of it, and probably start off to see if they're open to usually try not to go for the super big sellers because like they're kind of don't give a shit for you because like you're small and you're to them probably they don't even know like you're gonna scale hard enough. So, but most of them, I would say, if once you show like numbers, once you show the scale, I'll probably say 8 out of 10 would be more than happy to like take on more business because like why not, right? It's free money for them. Like they're just gonna like buy it for you, ship it for you, they get a cut. So yeah.
Yeah, but for you guys and your ability to scale, just like newbies aside, obviously that's great advice for newbies getting in there. But you guys having your own warehouse, was that a
Yeah.
big game changer for you? And that way you're able to pull in feeds from all sorts of different products and house them in one spot. Does that just make it easier to procure things at massive scale?
Yeah, definitely for sure. I would say it's a unique advantage that we do have. Like, anyone doing at least anyone that has 7 figures stores definitely do have their own fulfillment setup in China because like the cost savings, the processing speed, the ability to scale. I mean, not all suppliers can scale like 5 or 6 thousand like orders per day, given like and not necessarily like you're gonna get all the suppliers to be able to have stock. So usually there's a point of time whereby we buy out the entire China market's supply. So it's like we're scaling so aggressively that like, everyone's out of stock and like we have an agreement that only they can sell it to us. So like any copycats who try to like, get into the game and try to sell the same product, they don't even have inventory. So eventually they're just gonna like refund all the customers and pay for all like, take the loss for all the ad spend. So like that's a unique advantage that we do have sometimes, depending on how hard we scale and how new the product is. If the product is really mature, super a lot of like sellers and manufacturers, then it's probably harder. But if it's a new product, probably only like 5 or 6 big manufacturers, we can easily usually buy out the entire market for that.
So when you posted about your $400,000 spend days, and that was on one store essentially.
Yeah,
Now, can
yeah.
you tell me, is that one product or is that multiple products within that store? What's
Multiple,
your general
yeah.
approach?
Multiple products. It's kind of hard to scale one product to that scale, but probably we have like a few winners for that, and it's actually much easier to scale with several potential big winners. But definitely one big winner combined with like probably like 4 or 5 small winners, and then you can get to like close to 400K. Or else it's pretty hard.
Like
It's
with
pretty hard.
and working the upsales, obviously, where you're
Yes.
but and so they're tightly themed products, the products that where you have an audience in mind ahead of time. You probably have been building that audience. You probably have pixel data on that audience. What are the, do you what are like? Can you give me one of the ways that you would use in order to scale an audience to the heights that you're talking about? Is it just based on the fact that you've achieved that scale in the past, and therefore your pixel has learned all this amount, or are there any hacks that you have for ways that people can hack to scale that bigger? Is it just a matter of spending?
I would say probably like the product and your ad copy, your landing page. There's a lot of factors that takes into account on how you could scale to this kind of heights. Because like, if you're spending a lot of money, obviously you're like anyone can spend a lot of money, but does it convert? Does it get sales? Is this product something that people want? Do you have inventory for this product? Is there like any potential that you're not able to ship all these products, but you have a lot of sales for that? That's all this has to be taken into account. But I would say definitely being considering how aggressive you are. So like let's say because for us, whenever there's good profits, we'll just scale it, and we use a lot of different techniques and strategies on how we scale. So it's definitely not just a single strategy that we're using, and not just because of the product, or not just like it doesn't just account to like the strategy or product. Everything comes into play in all this like skill. So I think it took a while for us to get there, but definitely it's hard to get there because like with all the crazy amount of like things you have to do, you have to make sure everything's right before you have to scale, because or else you're just wasting ad spend. So I think there was one time that we tried to scale really hard, and the product doesn't. I mean, the whole market is just that small, right? But we're trying to force this product to have have more sales, and it doesn't work. So we try to scale it to probably like almost 100K per day, and it just died off from there.
I know, so it was wasted spend essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you guys deal with shipping times? I know that's an issue. I know that Facebook is starting to talk about sending surveys to users after they've ordered products online and
Hmm.
about when they got their products. How I guess having your fulfillment center speeds things up a little bit. Is it a constant? Is it a concern the length of the shipping time generally?
No, and we don't even have like concerns about that because like we don't have like 3 to 5 days processing time, which is already a lot, right? That's almost a week. If you take into account let's just say 5 days, right? Most AliExpress sellers do have like 5 days processing time. So from the amount of 5 days processing time, it takes about another 2 more days to get to the ports and everything. So essentially, you're wasting already 1 week, right? So that is the reason why most of the AliExpress sellers, have like crazy long shipping times because of like they're working through like an AliExpress seller whereby they have tons of orders and your order is just one of them being backlogged all the way till like 5 6 days later. So for us, every order, if we have inventory, everything that comes in on the same day gets shipped out on the same day. There's
Perfect.
no delays. There's no like processing times. There's if we have inventory and it's not shipped out, there's someone's gonna answer for that, and someone's gonna get fired for that. So I mean, having everything in house for logistics is, I would say, it's definitely an advantage and something that you could actually speed up a lot of the things that it's not used to be possible. So it's definitely like more cumbersome having like all this space that you need, all this like inventory, all these people that you have to hire. It's like a very manpower intensive like role that when you're setting up your warehouse, it's not like you can set automation for all these virtual stuff. So it's hard, but I would say it's definitely worth it when you're scaling. But anything less than 500K per month, I wouldn't even consider setting up all this.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, can you tell me, like, is your customer base truly global? Is
Hmm.
it, or is it still mostly based in the United States?
Very global. I would say US is definitely one of the biggest markets for sure, but not 100%. So US probably accounts 40% overall,
Oh
40
wow,
50%. Yeah.
that's
It's still
interesting.
the biggest one country, but everything if you're missing out on like the other countries like UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all the English speaking countries, like you're definitely missing out a lot of the money. And Europe is a very good market for us too. So if you're not doing Europe market, definitely putting a lot of money on the table.
How is the China? Is there a Chinese market for these products, or is it really just for the decadent West?
I would say definitely yes, but very competitive because like you're sourcing from China
That's
and
right.
right, and like it unless you have a really strong brand, because Chinese people like to buy foreign kind of like foreign US made stuff, right?
Yeah.
So unless you could do white label or you rebrand something that's so like special and you have a really strong brand, you can resell it like from US back to China, but essentially everything's made in China. I've seen a lot of like good brands doing that, but if you're just doing drop shipping, I don't think it's feasible because like the competition is just cutthroat in China, man.
Yeah.
They'll undercut you like by crazy, like on Taobao. Oh man, you have to check the prices. Like it's just ridiculous.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Maybe we just need to get big like production centers in the heartlands of the United States where there's like a lot of like they're struggling over there, and then they can sell it back to China to be like made by Americans. Made. that's
Yeah,
made,
I mean like definitely there's always a demand for like made in America, like because
huh.
I mean it's just like the culture,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Asians, like we just like to buy like US made or European made. Like we kind of believe the quality is so much better than China. So it's just like I think it's just like a culture thing.
Yeah.
So definitely a good market for that. But your branding has to be strong and it has to be like, so powerful in a way that people, oh, they're willing to pay like 10x the price,
Yeah.
right? For
And that
sure.
you can't just establish that overnight necessarily.
No,
Um,
never. It's a pain. It's a real. It's in my mastermind like the few weeks ago, that the Phuket one that I did. So like a lot of them are trying to transition over to like doing a long-term brand, which is good for sure. But I shared my experience and all like what I did for my brand because like a lot of people has like a misconception of building a brand. They thought, oh, maybe building a brand is just like creating like a logo, having a logo, a slogan, and slapping up like putting it on product. That's branding. That's not true. You know, like when we're talking about branding, it has to be consistent from top to bottom. You know, you have to care about your customers. You have to have a company culture. You have to have a good vision whereby you can share with your employees and everything, right? So it's like all the startups that I've done is like kind of like Silicon Valley kind of startups that we're trying to really build something to be really big. So it's a you have to be really prepared when you're going to be invested in doing a brand. So I think I shared a lot of my experience during the mastermind so that like people know what they're getting into rather than just like, oh, it's just a like it's just a logo, it's just a slogan, that's it.
Yeah.
I have a brand. Yeah.
Superficial. A lot of people have a superficial
Yes,
idea
yes,
of what a
yes,
brand
yes.
takes.
Yes.
Um, Very interesting. So one of my questions was in a last podcast I did with Malin Darris, who is one of the original affiliate media buyers, he's really good at finding products and making them work essentially. So my question is, what is your approach to sort of fast follow products that are already working in the space that you reveal through niche finding and SEO tools and things like that? Or do you have your biggest wins been through pioneering a product and being like a more or less a first mover on some of these big products?
Definitely the biggest winners. You have to be the pioneer. I mean, like you definitely can try to be a copycat and that's. I mean, this is like an open, very transparent like market, especially with all the spy tools. But you get to a stage whereby you realize that like even you know this product is a killer, and like let's say you're selling something that's super selling super well, and I'll try to take it and I'll try to replicate your success. Not necessarily I'll get the same results. It's just strange, but Facebook does like I'm not sure they probably give some preference to like early adopters or like people that could start early because like if you have been testing enough products you just realize that it doesn't work that way.
Mm.
Like I could take all the best selling products that I know and all the best winners, all hot selling products, and I'll just slap it on our page. Probably because of a different niche or some of them are general stores. It doesn't just work there. I honestly hope it could be that easy because like with all the tools that we have, all the research team that we have in place, we basically know every single hot selling product, but it doesn't work that way. It's probably because something to do with your targeting, probably a pixel. There's a lot of factors, but sometimes if you test enough products, you're just gonna get like better odds of winning at this game because it all boils down to testing different kind of products, the SOPs, the systems you have in place. So even if we got like I was telling like the Vietnam crowd that I was doing an event last week, even that we got so drunk, we have hangover, the whole team is still running by itself because like you have a good SOPs in place to make sure that all these products are being tested day in and day out without fail. Even without us, me and Evan not being in the business, everything's still running as it is. Yeah, that's called a real business, in my opinion. Yeah.
Nice, so that you can get away with being hungover. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And spending an hour talking on a podcast
Yeah.
with a daft Canadian. Fantastic. Well, that's one. And I had another question too about when you're dealing with Facebook at the scale that you're dealing with, when you're spending as much on Facebook. Are you using the automation tools that Facebook provides? Are you interfacing, for instance, with their API to spin up campaigns quicker, or is this done through Power Editor and slogging away, duplicating campaigns and things like
We
that?
use a variety of tools to do that. Like we don't have our own custom built API. I don't think it's required for now. I mean, we're not at the scale that we're spending like hundreds of millions per year, so I don't think it's necessary to like custom build your API. Probably it would be better off like using like third party. So they do recommend us to use a lot of like Smartly, different kind of like a lot of all this like Facebook partners that can help you scale. I think it's not necessary right now for us, and I especially don't like the fact where they have to charge you a percentage of your ad spend. So like I think some of them do take like 5 to 10% of your ad spend, which I don't like it
Yeah.
because like we're spending a lot. So obviously 5 to 10% is a lot of money for us. I would rather just hire like tons more media buyers in the Philippines because like I mean, good media buyers are in Philippines are probably just a few thousand US per month compared to a percentage of the ad spend. I could literally hire like 50 people, right? So I don't see it. I don't see like the benefits of doing so. But we do use like Facebook automation tools, the inbuilt ones, with some easy kind of like automation, like increased budget.
Yep.
You know, if CPA, I mean, all this are free, so just use it. Of course, don't expect it to be as sophisticated as Smartly because like it's free, but it's just a matter of time whereby Facebook is gonna come up with something that's as powerful as that. Because like I've seen Facebook starting to like kind of copy some of the features from all these different tools
Nice.
and putting all into like Facebook. So we still use a lot of Power Editor, and we do use like Quaya and Espresso from time to time to mass create ads. But yeah, I mean, it's like I wouldn't worry too much about using all these super tools like until like you're at a super bigger scale, at least like multiple six figures.
That makes sense. Now, what about video ads? A lot of people talk about e-commerce and video being the only way to go. What's your mix on video to static when it comes to advertising for
Video
e-commerce?
is probably, yeah, video is definitely a good one for us, and Facebook Reps does highly recommend it. Even if like they told us, even if you're trying to do like static photo ads, try to like just put it into animation so that it's video,
Mm,
in a way. So like definitely, but I do still run a lot of photo ads. I think I still run about 20-30% of photo ads in our overall campaigns because it still works. I mean,
yeah,
if the majority of everyone's like like I mean the market's like this, right? When everyone like sees someone's doing this thing, everyone flocks to do the same thing. So everyone's leaving the photo space, right? In a way, so you're gonna be able to kind of like capitalize when all the marketers are not doing photo ads anymore. So probably you could be the big guy in photo ads where everyone's just concentrating, everyone's just pitching, video ads. Definitely video ads is big for us, no doubt big for us, but I'll definitely diversify.
yeah.
Usually we try to diversify in everything we do, business, ads, traffic, everything we do is diversified.
Nice. One of the things, another thing that has brought to my attention as like a really key aspect to scaling your sales is responding to comments on Facebook ads. Simple things like when someone has a question, you respond with a product link. You
Yeah.
actually there's all this stuff that's happening through customer engagement. I was going to say what kind of what percentage of your business is sort of derived from this like strong attention to the customer and specifically responding to Facebook ads? Do you see a large portion of sales coming from that?
I would mm, I think it's helpful, but definitely not critical in a sense that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that we do have like social media managers replying to all these messages day in and day out, 24 hours. But it's a good practice, I would say. But I wouldn't say it's like to a scale whereby it affects your business critically in a way, but it shows like people that there's someone responding, so it gives more engagement, gives people more trust that you're speaking to someone that exists instead of like just a viral video.
Nice. Super good. I know we're pressed for time today. I think we're just coming close to an end here, but I want to first of all say we're super excited that you're going to be coming to Affiliate World Asia in Bangkok on December 6th and 7th. And we've also just come to an agreement where you're going to come to Facebook Mastery Live and talk about there.
Okay.
If for some reason that changes, we'll edit this out, but I don't think so. I think it's going to happen. So we'll make sure that
Mhm.
that's a big hit. And then talk a little bit about what else you're up to. I know you just had this mastermind in Phuket that James Van Elswyk
Mhm.
came back with raving reviews about the people he met and all these silent killers doing just huge numbers in e-commerce. And he also was talking about how he was like a giant there because he had just seeing these pictures. He's just such a big dude,
Yeah, yeah.
which was funny. But talk a little bit more about what you have going on, what you have coming up. I know you guys have a really big conference coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, so this coming Saturday we have like I think it's one of the biggest like e-commerce events in the world. So like it's our first event that we set up in Singapore. So part of the reason why Singapore because I'm from Singapore and I felt that I hate flying, so I don't really like to fly all the way to the US, where all the golden nuggets and all the big speakers are there. So like this year, probably because of like I have good relationships with all the speakers, so I kind of like invited them to Singapore because Singapore is a really nice place, really safe, really clean, like financial city of like Asia. So a lot of the few speakers have already been to Singapore and they love it. So I was thinking like why not like bring everyone here, right? Since like there's such a big pool of marketers in Asia, Bangkok, Singapore, Malaysia. There's so the
Philippines, yeah.
demand, yeah, the demand here is just big, if not bigger than the US. Definitely, one of the big perks is like having all these amazing speakers in a like short 2 days, generates a lot of like people flying all the way from US, all the way from Europe, I mean South North America. Everyone is just coming. It's like I think we have over like people flying all over like 20 or 30 countries just for this coming Saturday event. So we're super like hyped up. We're so pumped. We really want to see how far we can bring this event to.
And your speaker list is incredible. Like you literally every person that I've come across in this e-commerce space is going to be there. It's just Did you get Ezra Firestone to come out?
No, Ezra, like he wanted, but he doesn't enjoy flying like more than 24 hours, which is
Yeah.
like he's from New York, so the flight time is just crazy. So he wanted to try to come, but it's too far for him. So probably next time if we do like e-commerce World Summit in like US, definitely he's gonna be like one of our candidates. I like Ezra a lot. He's like really down to earth guy,
He is.
very very knowledgeable, very willing to share all his stuff. So yeah, he's definitely one of the first speakers that we reached out to. But unfortunately, he doesn't enjoy such a long flight.
Yeah,
So
I found the same
yeah,
thing. I was trying to get him to come to both Berlin and Asia and Bangkok, and he was not into it. But yeah, I really enjoy his persona as well. He's really down to earth, and really he's not just about he talks about all sorts of things on his like social profiles and stuff. So he's an
yeah,
enjoyable guy. That's
definitely, yeah.
that's really cool. Okay, cool. So, here's my last question. So, we basically, as marketers, we're in this pursuit. We're trying to scale our businesses to massive heights. Like, what is it for you that, like, why do you do this? So, is it, everyone likes to win, so that's a part of it. But what are the things that really that you like that are like what you would consider a peak experience? What's a peak experience for you? Because I feel like we do a lot of this work and so that we can have these amazing experiences
Hmm.
in life. And for you, because it's funny because I've seen some of the awesome pictures. Like you've had some peak experiences. I've seen
Hmm.
the Gucci bags and the amazing cars and the all that kind of stuff. But what really floats your boat these days?
Definitely, I think I'm as you said, everyone likes to win, right? And I think for me personally, I really wanted to make back whatever I lost in the past 10 years, like being cheated, being lost in business investments. Like I just really want to like, scale this really quickly and as big as possible so that like whatever I've lost through my bad decisions or bad partnerships in the past can be recovered in like this next few years.
I feel like you're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're already there, but it's just that like I'm really aggressive and like ambitious in a way because like kind of like I want to build like a really big company in the past, so it kind of like reduced like I kind of changed my I reduced my ambitious projects. So next year we're gonna focus a little bit more on like softwares, like doing a little bit on the side some trainings, some of the masterminds that I've did,
Yep.
like meeting more people, joining people's masterminds, and like definitely like our main cash cow are definitely e-commerce right now. So definitely looking to diversify this business a little bit more, so that like just in case if this business is not as good as before, we're not affected. But definitely, I still see a huge room for growth, including ourselves and the overall market, because like there's such a huge demand for physical products. Everyone's buying day in and day out. There's more online buyers every single day. So I don't see any risk in like this business going down anytime soon.
No, it's the biggest opportunity of our generation.
Yeah,
I feel like, right, and it's I've been part of affiliate marketing for over 10 years, and I've seen trends come and go, but this one is something else, and this one is. It's open to a lot more people than traditional affiliate media buying would have been in the
yeah,
past, just because there's a lot more to it. You're able to invest in products, invest in niches, build out your audiences. It's something that's super exciting. I'm super happy to be a part of it as well.
yeah. That's awesome, man. It's a good time, definitely for sure.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a good note to end things on. Thank you so much for coming to the Robust Marketer today. I really appreciate it. I really look forward to meeting you in Bangkok. I think we can have some fun time, share some great information.
Awesome. Thanks so much for
Okay.
having me today, Eric. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye.